Okay, so in this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the end of month financial results for Archi Demo Co. We've had a great month. Alice Road's up and going and everyone's working super hard. We also had some great news. We've won the Cheap and Nasty Lawyers project up in Brisbane. It doesn't start until January, so we've still got a bit of a hole in our full year revenue forecast, but we've got a little bit of breathing space. Anyway, take a front row seat as I pull together all the information as part of profit metrics so that I can update the live business model and we can rely on that for our decision making in the board meeting. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy the video. Okay, the November 2024 month end has rolled around. It's scary how quickly the year's moving. Christmas is less than a month away. Overlaying the profit metrics framework provides us a structured and strategic way of working out what's going on so you don't miss anything. And it enables us to answer a few very important questions. Are we on track to meet our target? If not, why aren't things going to plan? And where are things heading into the future? But before we get to that point, before we can start doing our analysis, there's a bunch of things that we need to check, some processes we need to do, work that needs to be done to satisfy ourselves that the results have what we call accounting integrity. And that's important because you can't work out if you're on track if you don't know where you are now. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that the balance sheet is bulletproof before we can be confident in the numbers. So we'll work our way through every account on this balance sheet and we'll prove up or substantiate all of the balances and tie things back to source documents. In the process, we'll find out if anything's affecting our profit that shouldn't be, and we'll pay particular attention to the aged debtor report and look for any stale or doubtful debts because they'll have a cash flow impact. So once we're happy with the balance sheet, there's a bunch of reports that we can go through to understand the performance in the P&L. We want to compare our actual results for the month against the budget because we need to understand if any of those variances has an impact on our future. We start to understand the results a lot better when we look at them in context with the trends of the KPIs. We can work out the effective utilization rate. We can work out the effective multiplier and the revenue per person. And by going through our time and billing and job costing reports, we can identify any WIP and make sure that we build whatever we can. Once we're comfortable with the actual results, we need to update our live financial model and roll it forward so that we can start to use it as a strategic tool to see into the future. We're going to need to feed our end of month actuals into the forecast and understand the full year impact of what's just happened in the previous month. And we want to compare our detailed revenue pipeline forecast against the three-way capacity forecast. We want to understand, do we have enough work? Are we going to be able to do it? Or have we got too many people and not enough work? And ultimately, the whole reason we're doing this really is because we want to see the impact of what's going on our cash flow. We don't want to run out of cash. And once we've done all this, once all this has been packaged up and put into a report for the directors, it puts us in a great position to have an insightful strategic discussion about our future goals and decide what we need to do to keep things on track in the board meeting. Now, believe me, it's really easy to fly off on tangents and go down rabbit holes chasing after small stuff and getting distracted. So before we immerse ourselves in that sort of detail, I want to do a sweep through of the high level or summary level stuff first. And remember, this isn't an exercise in variance analysis. There's no point in trying to understand why we've used more imaginary pens and pencils than we thought we would. And just so you can follow along, I've made it a bit easier. I've color-coded the deep dive file. So the first of the summary level reports is the actual versus budget for the month and year to date. So we're 43 grand better net profit for the month. We made 120,000 versus 77, and that puts us $69,000 up for the year net profit. When we look at the full year on a capacity basis, our projection is that we're going to finish up 630 compared to the 564,000 in the revised budget and the 551. So we're finishing up on a capacity basis better than we thought we would. And that's because the last couple of months we've been so busy. So with that in mind, we go to the KPIs and we start to have a little bit of a look at things that are sticking out that we might want to dive into the detail of. We see for the month that the multiplier was 3.03, which is better than the 2.8 that we'd forecast in. That's because the utilisation was quite high as well. The utilisation for the month was 73.5 against our budget of 70. So the last couple of months, there's been quite a bit of unpaid overtime going into boosting that result, and that's because deadlines have been dictating what needs to be done by when. The WIP's come down a little bit. The debtor days have gone up a bit. We didn't actually budget for any WIP. That's why that chart looks a bit funny. For the rest of the year forecast, we've sort of said it might average about 50 grand, but we can see with Alice Road last month, we had to do a fair bit in advance, and we're starting to catch that up, which is good. The overheads, fixed ones were down a little bit. Overall, the overheads were lower. The cash is a bit down on what we expected because it's tied up in debtors and WIP. You can see there the last couple of months, the net profit's been a bit better than expected. And that was, you can see below that on utilisation, they tie in together as well. So gives us a pretty good snapshot of where we're up to at the moment. So we can do more detailed variance analysis through here on a line-by-line basis. As I said earlier, we're not going to do that now. We're going to assume that all of these have been duly authorised, they're legitimate expenses, and it is what it is. They're imaginary anyway. So let's assume we've done that and we've taken whatever insights we could and we've plugged them now into our detailed full year forecast. You can see here the 5 months of actuals and the rest of year detail coming through here. And this rest of year in green is saying that our team at 2.8 multiplier and at the budget utilisation should be able to make this 5.14 in total sales for the year. Now at this point we can segue across and have a look at the job costing and WIP. And I don't want to sort of dwell on all of this other than to say that it all ties up. And last month we had a $108,000 balance. This month it's 86. We can still see that the majority of that relates to Alice Road. We're still 120,000 further ahead. But there should be some red flags going up for Alice Road though. Even though we've billed further ahead with the WIP, according to our percentage complete and earned value, that job's already in the red for 172,000. A few of those other jobs, things like Jones Avenue, was a milestone billing issue where we're able to bill to 60% at this end of this stage, and therefore we've made a big profit on that stage. So effectively we've cleared the WIP out for that one and Burt Boulevard as well. And it all nets off to the 86,000. Now we know the utilisation was 73.5%, but we can also see here that overall the capacity was about 112%. So there's 12% of extra hours gone in to making up this result this month. When we come to our detailed revenue forecast, we want to compare our capacity, which we had in the live model, the 5.1, against what's in the pipe. And at this stage, the full year is saying that we're going to come in at 4.787. So we're still 228 under. It's an improvement of 180 grand against what it was before we won Cheap and Nasty Lawyers. But when you actually analyse it and look up until the end of April 2025, we're actually slightly ahead. So that 228 shortfall, it's really to do with May and June. So that should give us a fair amount of comfort that we've got some time. We need to now finish off these secure jobs that we've got. Alice Road, Bunyip Hills, Jones Street, Smith Street, Tech Bros, Cheap and Nasty Lawyers, all of them. You know, we can't afford them to slip, but as long as we can execute there without them slipping, then our problem is May and June. And we need to get busy working through our marketing targets, working through our proposals, and trying to fill those holes up, and not just letting the work that we've got already up until April slip into May and June. That won't help. We need more work to start May, June. So overall, things are looking pretty good. Year to date, we're better than we'd budgeted. The last month's been quite stressful as we've waited on the outcome of that cheap and nasty lawyers, and there was some discrepancies. It was in there for more than it's actually been. But in the short term, things are looking pretty good. It looks like, we're going to go through the Christmas, New Year period, and, we're going to burn a bit of money, but we budgeted to do that. They're our non-productive periods. We're forcing people to take leave and all that sort of stuff. But at this stage, I think the directors in the board meeting will be delighted with where we're at. And it's just a case of staying on it and now focusing on the marketing so that we can get those jobs started in May and June. Anyway, now that this has all been done, it's ready to button up and send out to the directors. The next time that you see me will be in the board meeting for November with George and Desley. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. So if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button. Tell your friends about it. There's plenty more updates coming for Archi Demo Co in the future. And if you'd like any more information, jump on our website, www.custodianbackoffice.com, and there you'll find plenty of resources that'll help you get started with better financial management in your architecture practice. I'm David Dillon from Custodian Back Office. Thanks very much for watching.